So the Pokemon page is going to show us the details of each Pokemon. So now we want to make a new file, and we will call this Pokemon details.js. And this Pokemon details will basically show the details of the Pokemon, and we want it to be a class component. So to do this, we're just going to do rcc, and the extension should automatically make us a class component. So we want this to be a class component so that we can connect it to Redux, because later we're going to be making a favorite feature so that we can add the Pokemons to a list of favorites inside Redux. Now that we have made this component, we want it to be connected to our router. So it will have a path, and we can go to this page by the path. So we just want to copy and paste, just like what we've done for the Pokedex screen. We want it to be now a /Pokemon, and we want to have the ID of the Pokemon as well. We want to pass it in. So it's going to be a variable, something that will change. We have to do this colon, so that indicates that variable can be dynamic. And now it will take us to this Pokemon details component. So we need to import that Pokemon details component from our containers. So import Pokemon details from containers /Pokemon details.js, just Pokemon details. Now we are passing that Pokemon details right inside the component property of that root. So now we can add a link for inside our app bar, so that we can go to, actually no, this is going to be specifically for each Pokemon that we click on. So when we click on that Pokemon, we need to wrap it around the link as well. So if we go to Pokemon card, now the Pokemon card, we want to wrap the card, we want to wrap it with a link element. So when we click on it, just like an anchor, when we click on this link, it will take us to the Pokemon details components. We need to import the link from react.js, and now we need to implement this link. We will do to, and we will now pass in the path of the screen, which is the Pokemon details screen, and we just have to write Pokemon details. And we also need to, sorry, not Pokemon details, we write Pokemon. So the link is going to be /Pokemon /the ID. So let's see if that is working. Let's go to our browser. So if we look at this, the name now, it has an underline. It's underlined with a blue, so it has a blue underline. We want to remove this underline. So to do this, we are just going to apply a class to the link, and we want to make a class called link. And for this class, we want to set text decoration to none. Now this text decoration, we need to apply it inside the link. So we're going to do class name is equal to classes dot link, and that should remove the underline. So as you can see now, they are removed. Now when we click on any Pokemon, it should take us to Pokemon /2. So to avoid any conflicts with the root, we also want to pass in the exact property for each root. So right here we want to include the exact property, so that we have to, when we get to that path, we will only return this root. Okay, so let's go back to our Pokemon card, actually Pokemon details screen. Let's go to the Pokemon details screen and put in just a hello, so we can test this out. So if we go back to our Pokedex, if we go to the home page, and we click on a Pokemon, it should take us over here, but because we haven't done styling for this hello, so if we style this hello, give it like a margin top, because it's hiding right under the header, give it a margin top of 200, and now it's showing. So we can navigate to our Pokemon details screen by clicking on a Pokemon. Now the next step is to actually show the details of the Pokemon and implement the Pokemon details completely. So now we want to implement the state for this class component. So let's go ahead and make a constructor for this class component, and the constructor is going to get props, and we're going to pass the props to the super component, which is the class that extends. So as you can see, we have extends component, so the props that we're going to receive, we're going to send it over to super as well. Now we can do our state. We can do this dot state is equal to the object, which is Pokemon. We're only going to have one property for the state, and it's going to be Pokemon. So this Pokemon is going to hold the Pokemon in details, because we're going to be receiving the ID of the Pokemon, because when we clicked on it from the Pokedex, now we will when we click on the Pokedex, we have this link called Pokemon, and we also pass in the ID, and this takes us to so as you can see over here in the root as well, this is the root for the Pokemon details screen, and it has an ID. So when we go to the Pokemon details screen, we can get this ID and then get the Pokemon details, so we can get the details for that Pokemon from the API, and we can get a lot of details. So we want to get that object and set it in state. So first of all it's going to be null, because we haven't set anything, and then we're going to implement the component did mount function. Now component did mount function is very similar to useeffect, because useeffect gets called when the component is mounted basically. The main difference between useeffect and component did mount is that useeffect is used as a React hook and it's used for functional components, whereas component did mount is used for class components. Now for this component did mount, we want to actually use axios to fetch the data. And before we use axios, let's get the actual ID. So when we use axios, it should automatically import it for us. I'm going to remove axios for now because I will use it later. So first of all, we need to get the actual ID from the parameters. From when we navigate, we are passing in the ID. We want to get the ID now. So to do this, we want to do const match, and this match will have the parameters, and we're getting this match from this.props. So we're getting match from this.props, and now we want to get the Pokemon ID from the match parameters. So now we'll do const Pokemon ID. So because we called the ID, we're passing in as ID actually, sorry, not Pokemon ID. Yep, so we'll get the ID, and that will be taken from match.params. So we want to use this question mark to make sure that that match exists, and then we can use the params from match. Now let's use axios to get the Pokemon details using the ID of the Pokemon. So we're going to use axios.get, and then we'll need to pass in the Pokemon API URL. So this Pokemon API URL, we have defined this inside the config folder, inside index and config folder, and it should automatically import it for us. I guess it hasn't. Okay, now it imported for us the Pokemon API URL, and then we want to also include the Pokemon ID. So we're just going to do plus /. We also have to do /. So make sure to put it as a string. And as you can see, this Pokemon API URL is included in the index file inside config. Now we need to use the .then, because .then will basically give us the promise. So we should get a response from this API call. And now we want to check if the response status is between 200 and 300 to make sure that it's successful. So we want to check if response status is bigger than 200 and response.status is smaller than 300. Sorry, bigger than or equal to 200 and smaller than 300. Now we want to set the state. So we want to set the Pokemon in state to match, to basically take the Pokemon that we have received from the API. So to do this, we're just going to do this.state. This.setstate, sorry, not state. This.setstate. And we're going to pass in the object, and we're going to pass in a Pokemon property. We're going to give it response.data. Let's console.log the response.data to see if we are successfully getting the data. So we're just going to do console.log, and let's see it inside our Chrome browser. So let's click on a Pokemon, and it should take us to the Pokemon details screen, and let's see if we are getting the object. Yes, we are. And as you can see, the Pokemon has abilities, it has all of these properties which we can use to show inside our Pokemon details.